Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your friendly neighborhood PM here to give you your top 3 market points of the week. Now, like we discussed last week, it's going to be an all earnings edition. So without further ado, we're going to dive right into your top 3 names that are really moving markets this week with their earnings releases. And we're going to start off with a bad one. At point number 3, it was Meta, down double digits following their post earnings release. Now, a lot of that price action is being driven because they issued a weaker than expected guidance on their sales forecast for the rest of the year, in addition to them reiterating that they're going to keep spending on R&D for AI development. Particularly, they're going to be spending more than they were previously anticipated. Now, that really weighed on the stock. As you can see, it's down double digits like we previously mentioned. And on top of that, what that really did was kind of overlooked a relatively solid quarter otherwise. They beat on revenue and they beat on earnings per share on the previous quarter. But the increased spending is something that the investors did not like to see on that release. At number 2, it was Microsoft, up following their earnings release. They beat on revenue, on earnings, and on income as they continue to see driving AI demand for their Copilot system, as well as their coding assistant on GitHub. So as we've continued to see, Microsoft is one of the leading companies when it comes to AI development, as well as just software in general. And a lot of their performance this previous quarter was driven largely from their cloud computing segment, Azure, which was up 31%. And kind of what we just spoke about, a lot of that is being attributable to their AI demand, which drove around 7% of that overall 31% increase. And then finally, for the week, the biggest mover was Google, up double digits today after their post-earnings release. They were strong across the board, beating across pretty much every single metric. On top of that, they also announced a quarterly dividend of 20 cents per share, in addition to also authorizing another $70 billion share buyback. On top of that, they've announced that they've continued to integrate AI into pretty much their entire product catalog, as well as they continue to get increased subscribers on YouTube TV, as well as their Google Cloud segment. So a lot of growth coming through for Google this quarter, and it was something a lot of investors wanted to see, considering they've kind of gotten the rep lately that they've been lagging on the AI segment behind the likes of Microsoft, Amazon, and as well as Meta. But this prior quarter, as well as their guidance, is really showing that they're kind of taking the forefront on that, just like they have been since about 2016. Now, those are your 3 key names for this week. What are we looking forward to for next week? Well, next week is going to be more earnings. We've got still 2/3 of the S&P 500 waiting to report, as well as the Fed's rate decision next week. So we're going to keep you updated about a mix of both earnings and economics next week as well. So stay tuned on that. But otherwise, that's it for this week's video. As always, if you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your financial advisor or dig into the written weekend review. Otherwise, please go out, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you the same time next week. Thanks. Bye.